62 Mr. Binodanand Misra.
Please, your lordships.
Yes.
Lordships, in this case, we are seeking a direction to the university, lords, respondent university.
Yes.
To my BSc honors final exam result. Your lordships, what has happened is that I was admitted in a constituent college. I got through the first and second part of the examination, and after that, I have been admitted in part third. I, my lords, filled up the form, appeared. University at no point of time raised any objection. He issued admit card, allowed me to appear in the examination. After the examination, my lords, they kept my result pending. It has been withheld. My lords, they have not communicated or disclosed any reason whatsoever.
No, just a minute. You tell me, you are a student of BSc.
Yes, lordships.
In Parvati Science College, all right? So you appeared in part 1, you passed.
Lordship, in first attempt I failed, in second attempt I got through. Then I have been admitted in part 2.
Right.
In part 2, my lords,
There also you appear to have failed in the first instance.
Lords, where I have stated that, your lordships are asking.
You have failed. It appears you have failed in your second part in the first instance, and then you again appeared and then passed. Is it correct?
In part 3, I appeared thrice.
In part 3, you appeared thrice. Then what happened? Maybe there is some gap somewhere.
I have been promoted as per the regulation.
And that's all right. So you need to know your result, whether you have passed or you have failed, whether you need to appear for the 4th time, but you must be given your result.
Lordships, yes, Mr. Hurdle is, my lordships, possibly, my lords, they are trying to justify their action on the basis of the examination regulation.
No, we'll see.
Regulation, my lord, says that
where did you make any application before the concerned authority for declaring your result?
My lords, that is on record, my lordships, as Annexure 10. Page 19, your lordships. I simply said that I passed in all the papers, kindly publish my result. But my lordships,
they need to, asking from them the reason for not publishing the result would unnecessarily take time. Let me delegate you to them only.
What would be the possible reason, my lords? I'm submitting for your lordships. There is a regulation, examination regulation in the university, your lordships. Regulation 7.1 of that regulation, I have, my lords, made a compilation of the case laws as well as the examination regulation, and I sent it on the email of the court master. My lords, the last occasion itself. I could not appear because I had to leave.
Yes. Tell us.
So, my lords, in that examination regulation, my lords, there is a regulation 7.1 which is relevant, your lords, for our purposes.
What does it say?
It says that if any student fails to appear or fails in the examination, he cannot be admitted to part 3 unless he got through the part 2 examination.
That's right.
And that to get through the examinations in which he failed, he has to appear in 3 consecutive examinations. Unfortunately, Mirars, in the case of this petitioner, he appeared in the first examination, he failed. In the second, he has been disqualified. In the third, he passed, but that third is not consecutive. He is after a gap of 1 year. Possibly
therefore, just a minute, Mr. Mishra. Therefore, you know the reason why result has not been published. Where is the occasion for this court to interfere?
Well, I inquired into it. No, in such circumstances, I am not the only candidate, or this is not the only case, Millards. This issue is no longer res integra. That's why, Millards, I have sent the case laws, Millards, where under similar circumstances, where for no fault, Millards, the regulation does not say that if a candidate has been allowed to appear, he has been issued the admit card without raising any objection, then the university will not pass his result saying that he has been wrongly admitted in that course.
No. That is something under Article 142 or maybe exercise of another jurisdiction. We can only remit you. We can't pass an order like this.
Millards, I'm not relying on any Supreme Court judgment, Millards.
No, that is 142. That is it may not be a Supreme Court judgment, but I don't have 142 powers. I will
Because
say only, I can only say that there is a presumption, and you know that for fact, factually, you know that you have not passed your BA Part 2 in the consecutive compartmental examination.
at my own, because Milordships, I talked to some of the examination authorities at my own, Milords, that it doesn't appear that why. Then he said possibly this could be the reason. That's how, Milords, to save time, Milords,
Suppose, Mr. Mishra, I give you an example. Just a minute, Mr. Mishra. Just a minute, Mr. Mishra. I give you an example, though it may not be very apt, but try and see it in that perspective. Suppose somebody, Mr. X, comes with a degree of law and he gets enrolled as an advocate with the Bihar State Bar Council.
Milords.
Later, it is found that the degree of law is forged, wrongly given to him. He has not passed the examination.
Milordships.
Then the presumption is that Bar Council would enroll only such persons who have a valid degree.
Milordships.
That you were enrolled, does it sort of wipe away everything of past?
So, Milords, if I have played any fraud or
You
misrepresentation,
may not have, but if wrong which has been committed will not be allowed to be perpetuated. All that I can do, Mr. Mishra, is this. I can send you back to the Director of Examination Controller to look at it with a view that you have been inducted in the course, you have been made to study for Part 3, and this time you may have passed. It may not have been consecutive. Otherwise, somebody will pass first year, second year you have failed. You're not a regular student, it appears. Every examination, every part you are taking 3 years to pass, and then you also give a gap year as if you are on a sabbatical.
that is how
What right do you have?
that is how I work hard, Milordships. I got 5
That's all right.
judgments.
We have all sympathies for you, but show me one good logic in those judgments by which I will say, I mean, I will go by the examination regulation.
I'm very much obliged, Milordships. I cannot place my case higher than what has already been done in a similar cases, Milords. That's why, Milords, I want.
Sure.
Now, the first judgment is by a division bench, Milordships, consisting of GC Baruka and Honorable Narayan Rai, Milords.
Yes.
Case, Milords, I'm reading the relevant paragraph. There was a violation. The case of the university was that regulation has been violated. Milords, it says I'm reading paragraph 4.
Lordship, those judgments has not been passed to me, Your Lordship. It has not been given to me.
Don't worry, Mr. Giri. The judgment,
report-
let the court be satisfied about the judgment. We will let you know the
And
contents.
Lordship, with Lordship permission, only one line I would submit, Lordship, that this issues has been settled by the coordinate bench, Your Lordship. Recently, it has been settled, Your Lordship, in many judgments.
We'll hear you. Judgments, unless it's of, I mean, all judgments are of binding value, but we will only go by our understanding.
Lordship, in regard to this university and this regulation itself, Your Lordship.
All right. Yes, we'll hear you. Mr.
But I may answer, Milords. If it is a reported judgment, I'm supposed to give the citations only. And Milords,
Yes.
secondly, Milords,
Mr. Mishra, that objection is overruled. That objection we don't consider, we don't take it into account.
The cases he has in mind, I have gone through. None of those relates to the general.
You limit yourself to this now. Forget about what Mr. Giri has said. You show me from the judgment.
Yes. So in the first, Milords, the PDF page, Milords will get 3, paragraph 4. From aforesaid decision of the examination board of the university, it is quite clear that the regulation in question has in fact been violated by the authorities of the college, because they have admitted, Milords, in that case also. And for the said mistake of the college authorities, the petitioner is being subjected to punishment by withholding of her result. In my opinion, it is contrary to all canons of justice and equity. The provision under the regulation is with respect to taking off admission in the honors course. The regulation in question does not anywhere provide that if a student has been admitted to a particular course.
How do you know? You are making a presumption that maybe because of this regulation, your result has not been published.
From the mark sheets, there is a gap of 1 year. That is how that I find, Milordships. And to be fair enough, Milordships, we are officers of the court also. So, Milords, I submitted that I find that it is not consecutive. That is there. But for that mistake, this is a mistake, my lordships, which could be ignored, my lordships, because my lords, it has not been done on any misrepresentation or fraud. The judgments also said that, my lord, the second judgment, my lords, I would rely upon, my lords, is
No, but that's a big, there is a bigger judgment with respect to this, that a fault which has been committed, whosoever is the faulty party, whosoever is the party committing the fault, that cannot be allowed to be perpetuated. No, we will not. We will record the reasons. We will record our own reasons and say that in this circumstance, I can only instead of taking that categorical no from us, you go before the authority, show these judgments, and you will be considered.
Equity jurisdiction, my lords. 226 is an equity jurisdiction, and this has been held, my lords. My lords, I am coming to subsequent judgments which says that equity is in favor of the petitioner. So that is how. If my lordships would be pleased to look to these judgments.
Equity only begins where the law ends. The law has not ended here.
My lords,
The basic concept of pressing into use the concept of equity is where the law ends.
My lords may take that
Must
view,
fall, equity must fall in favor of the person who has a balance in his favor.
lords, the balance is in.
No, the only thing is that you are a student, you have labored, you have shown consistency. That's all. It is beyond the rules.
That is why, my lords, this honorable court on every such occasion has said, my lords, that equity lies in favor of the petitioners. I will show, my lords, those judgments. I have said that compilation before, my lords. If my lords will not,
I will not be passing that order. That is a foregone conclusion. I will remit you to the examination controller, and I will say that consider his case, that he has been consistent, and please, if it is not beyond the rules, give his result.
my lords,
Will not issue a mandamus in this. That will be perpetuating something wrong.
But may I then, my lords, make one kind request?
Mr. Mishra, there is a reason behind it. Now,
Well,
I would issue a mandamus only when it is within the parameters of law, not otherwise.
My lords, I followed what is running in your lordship's mind, that there is a mistake, there is a violation. The violation is violation, whosoever may have committed it.
Otherwise, why would the university make such rules? Don't make rules.
But my lords, my simple endeavor is to see in what way these issues have been decided by this honorable. Lords, I
can see, but this logic, I mean, since it is not, it cannot be treated as precedent. It can only have a persuasive value.
My lords, I'm entitled to persuade you, lords.
No, that you are, and I have no objections. I would like to hear you. There is no difficulty, but you do one thing. When judgment was Mr. No, if you are just a minute, Mr. Mishra, if you are satisfied with an observation of this court, that the student has shown some tenacity after failing in each of the parts of the examination, he has made efforts and he has passed. And when you permitted him, he has this legitimate expectation that if he passes, his result shall be published. Now, if I will relegate you to him, and in case it is permissible under the rules, he will give you the result. Beyond this, I am not issuing mandamus, that's for sure.
The moment my lord will say that if rule permits, they will not give me anything, because they say they will read the rule.
We'll make it as as much in your favor as I can. But I have my limitations in granting, in issuing a mandamus where the rules are violated. Unless you show.
May I make one earnest request, your lordships?
Yes.
My lords, send me back, and my lords may tell him that petitioner will represent with all the case laws he has in hand, and the authorities can take appropriate decisions.
Mr. Binodan and Mishra, you are asking the court to abdicate its functions of adjudication and leave it to the examination controller. You show me the law, and I will say that it is no precedent.
Since your lordships are not inclined to enter into the merits.
No, I am not inclined to issue a mandamus unless you say that there is a reason behind it.
The reason is, my lords, that just
a minute. The only reason, Mr. Mishra, is that you have been, for the fault of the university, you have been admitted, you have lost 1 year. Otherwise, if you would not have been allowed admission in part 3, perhaps you would have chosen some other vocation. You have lost your year, and therefore in all fairness, your result should be published. If you have passed, you should be shown passed. That's all. But mandamus का issue नहीं है. दिखाइए हमको judgments दिखाइए. Let us see how they have decided.
Another judgment, my lords, is
whichever judgment you have given, one is by Justice S.N. Jha. These are 2-3 paragraphs.
that's it.
That is under Article 226, but more or less in the nature of 142 order. So that doesn't satisfy the court.
My lords, S.N. Jha's order is one out of the 5. There is one judgment. One is, my lords, 1993, Volume 1, PLJR 609. It's a division bench judgment. G.C. Baruka and Narayan Rai. Second, my lords, is by Justice S.B. Sinha and G.C. Baruka, my lords.
This is difficult for me.
S.B. Sinha and G.C. 1994, Volume 1, PLJR 691.
Now you do one thing. We are not issuing a mandamus. Show the pages are not here. I mean, otherwise, also I'm not convinced. We can send you back, or we'll ask Mr. Giri to give his judgments, and then we decide that all this has happened, but I am not inclined for this reason. So let it be tested before the division bench. Doesn't matter.
We'll
say that it is not a precedent.
Well, the issue is how many times this student will mortgage his house to fight the court cases. They come from low.
Now, Mr. Mishra, this is what is keeping me. This is what is holding me back from dismissing the petition right away.
That is why, under the similar circumstances, some order has been given to other students. This unfortunate.
Forget about the orders. Under certain circumstances, if the university has published the result of such persons, show me on grounds of equality, I shall, but not on grounds of equity. Here, he doesn't deserve equity.
Lords, I know that I want my results to be published, whatever may be the ground, Lords.
Now let us see if somebody who has not passed in consecutive examinations.
Lords, matter may be adjourned. I have no option.
You do one thing, you give the citations to Mr. Giri, and Mr. Giri shall give you back the citations of cases which he has just referred to. And please bring the photocopies of those judgments on the next date.
I will Lordship, only one judgment, Lordship, this recently decided, and all the arguments has been taken care of in that judgment of Mr. Mishra, Your Lordship. That is 4-121. It is the case of Muhammad Hilal versus State of Bihar, reported in 2021, Volume 2, BLJ 648, Your Lordship. Mr. Mishra probably knows this judgment, Your Lordship.
And it does not relate to BSc honors.
Yes, Your Lordship. It is Bachelor of Science Honors Chemistry in RKK College, Purnia.
Anyway, we'll see. What is that judgment?
Lordship, it is 2021, Volume 2, BLJ 648.
Just a minute, slow. I have to note it down.
Sorry, Lordship.
2000?
2021, Volume 2, BLJ 648. 648.
दीजिए, निकाल सकते हैं. We keep it for physical hearing. We keep it for physical hearing. Please bring your case law citations. Everything will decide.
Lordship.
Okay.
Any date may be fixed, Your Lordship.
Just heard Mr. Binodan and Mr. Leonard advocate for the petitioner, and Mr. Raju Giri for the respondent, B.N. Mandal University. Stop. The petitioner. The result of the part 3 BSc examination of the petitioner has not been published. Stop. The representation of the petitioner before the Controller of Examinations, B.N. Mandal University, has also fallen on deaf ears. Stop. Very fairly, Mr. Binodan and Mr. Leonard advocate for the petitioner has submitted that it is being presumed that the results are not being published only for the reason that petitioner has not passed his part 2 examination in 3 consecutive years, and perhaps that could be the reason for not publishing the result. Mr. Mishra submits that there was no misrepresentation on the part of the petitioner to get admitted in part 3, which course he attended and diligently wrote the examination. Once he was admitted to part 3 of the said course, there was every justification of his expectation that the breach in the examination rules have been relaxed, and therefore that breach ought not to come in the way of the publishing of the final result of the petitioner if he has passed. Mr. Mishra has further drawn the attention of this court to some of the division bench and single judges, some of the judgments of the division bench as well as the single bench, holding that if there is no misrepresentation on the part of an examinee for not having passed part 2 examination within 3 consecutive examination sessions. क्या लिखा है पढ़ो? क्या लिखा है Mr. Mishra?
Mr. Mishra has further drawn the attention of this court to some of the judgments delivered by the Honorable Division Bench and Single Bench, holding that if there is no misrepresentation on the part of the exam,
equity demanded that the result of the third year be published. Mr. Raju Giri, on the other hand, has submitted that the issue has already been decided, and issue has already been decided by a coordinate bench of this court, where all these grounds have been taken into account, and in case of violation of the examination rules, results have not been given to such candidates. The examination rules indicate that there shall be university examination at the end of the first, second, and third years of the study. If a student fails in or fails to appear at not more than 2 subjects, then if a student fails in part 2 but passes within 3 consecutive compartmental examinations, he would be entitled to be enrolled as a third year student, and his result requires to be published. In the present case, the petitioner passed, in the case of the petitioner, he passed his part 2 examination in the third attempt, but the third attempt was not back to back with his second attempt. There was a gap of a year. It is the presumption of the petitioner that perhaps this is the reason for non-publication of his result. He has vehemently contended that equity falls on such a student for the reason that he has shown the tenacity of continuing with the course and not abandoning it, and has undertaken the trouble to take classes, to participate in the class, participate in the teaching, participate in the class, and has written examination for third year. Let this matter be posted for 22nd of February, when Mr. Giri shall bring the judgment which decides otherwise, in which equity has not been applied, and for breach of the examination rules, result has not been published.
Deeply obliged.
Manoj Kumar.
Lordship.